Hey everyone, Vangelis here, welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at Alive, a new Eurogame style game from Skellig Games that's heading Gamefound very soon, if not already. We're playing as an early copy in this prototype, and this is one of those cozy, sit back and enjoy the ride type of games. It gives you this cozy and easygoing feeling. If you're new here, this is my usual hybrid of how to play games meets a review, where we start with introducing the game like we do now, and then going through the rules, explaining the rules and how the game works, and then following with a wrap-up of my final first impressions from the game with the time I had with the prototype. So players are going to go through different ages, selecting hobbies, relationships, little moments, decisions, professions, and force and collect experience so that they they create their life and fulfill their lifetime throughout this game. This game has its own pace. It's one with very easygoing rules. There is no take that element. There is no messing around with other people's. Okay, so you're trying to build a meaningful path of your lifetime. Turns are smooth, the iconography is clean, and the choices feel personal without ever being punishing. You're constantly deciding if you want to invest in education, chase a dream job, start a family, pick up a hobby, or just enjoy a moment that gives you little happiness. And that's what really attracts, I think, us gamers around this gameplay, because it's very easy, laid back and easygoing gameplay of a lifetime unfolding in front of you. In my place, the things that I stood out was how relaxing it was. It's a Eurogame style game with multi-use cards, with endgame bonuses, with open drafting. The theme does all the heavy lifting. It's very thematic, and if you look at the board, it gives you a very nice, pleasant overall and warm feeling on the theme. The Gamefound campaign is coming up. I'm going to add a link in the description on the video where you can find out more about the game. Keep in mind that I am showing you is advanced prototype material, so things may change. Keep also in mind that through the link in the campaign that I have in the description of the video, you'll find out more about the game, different unlocks or stretch goals or options on supposed deluxe or improved components. But at this video, we're going to focus on how the game plays. I'm going to show you the explanation of the rules. It's a very easy to teach game. And then after we finish with the explanation of the rules, as we always do, I'm going to come back at the end of the video for a final wrap-up. As always, I'm going to use timestamps for a quick jump. If you're just interested for the rules and not my opinion, you can just jump directly to the corresponding section from the timestamps. So that's how Alive translates in the board game. Let's see how the game actually plays in practice, and we'll be back with more first impressions after we cover the rules. So let's see how the game plays first of all. In Alive, you play through a lifetime, from birth to old age. You choose which experiences your character will have, and in the process you collect resources such as knowledge, experience, dreams, and money, which you will need to develop your experience. Additionally, your experiences determine the character's inner values, which dictates which resources you receive experience points for at the end of your life. For the winner, it isn't the one who is the richest, smartest, or most successful, but the one who has lived their life best in accordance with their own values. Welcome to this how to play video of Alive, the latest game from Skellig Games. This is a game for 2 to 4 players that plays ages 8 and up, and it's designed by Stefan Freund, a game where illustration is from Roman Kucharski. The game is a game where, as you can imagine from the title, you play through a lifetime, through different 5 big phases, all the way from the childhood to the older ages, adulthood and so on. But before doing anything else, let's first familiarize with the components of the game. Now, in terms of components, we have various components. This is advanced prototype, so even if it looks gorgeous, keep in mind that everything you see is prototype and may change. I've done a separate detailed unboxing video for the prototype where you can go and check out that video, but for the most part, everything looks like in the final stage. So the game comes with one foldable game board, and I have to admit this is one of the most well-designed boards I've seen in the industry, and I have a huge library and lots of games in my possession. So look at that. I mean, this is a board which folds and unfolds all the way to number 5, which is the 5th phase of the game, by folding and moving so that you progress from this section, which is for the phase 1, to this section, which is phase 2, and so on. So the game comes with this foldable board, which not only works really nice, it stands flat, so I have to really give them kudos for delivering and developing, I should say, such a great option. I mean, this is ingenuity at best. Then we have 4 live boards, and these live boards are dual layered. And now you have to follow the link in the description of the video to find out more about the campaign and see what is coming into the retail version, if something is part of a deluxe version, and so on. So I'm not familiar with the details, I'm just delivering the experience I have with this prototype, but boy, do these boards look really great. These are recessed, thick cardboard dual layer boards with inner slots for the different tracks, which is very valuable because you have 20 markers for this game. Don't be alarmed, it's very simple. It's you have dual markers for each of those tracks, okay, and you have boards here, but this is all for convenience, it's not for complexity. Overall, great live boards. Then the game comes with 226 live cards. Live cards go all the way from number 1 deck to number 2 to number 3, number 4, number 5, depicting the different stages of a person's life. We'll explain the live cards later on, but we also have 12 baby live cards, okay, and these are cards where you start for your starting resources, okay, and you place also your starting markers there from your hearts. And I'm not sure, but it looks like, since my prototype came with these tokens which are similar, I suppose these are part of stretch goals probably, or some kind of deluxe version, but in any case I took the opportunity to use the tiles instead of the cards. So every player is going to start with one of those tiles randomly, which will give them some starting resources, and it's a placeholder for the 3 hearts that they have in the game. If they lose 3 hearts and they have no more hearts to lose, that means that they will be out for the game and wait for the final scoring together with the rest. So this indicates the starting resources, and we'll explain how baby cards work, and they go into the first lot, meaning here on the player's board. We also have 60 live tokens for the 4 characters, 15 per character, okay? So you see, this is a player board, and I have already set up my first 3 of phase 1 from this tile on the board. Then I have 3 more, 3 more, 3 more, and 3 more. So a total of 15 in total for each of the players, and 15 from that stage. And you can see these have different color for the different phases of a person's life, and different also art. So again, to be clear, every player has 3 orange, 3 green, 3 blue, 3 purple, and 3 dark green tokens, for a total of 15 throughout the 5 different stages of his or her life, okay, which are also color coded per stage of the person's life or the character's life. And again, in terms of terminology, these are called live tokens, all of those 15 a player has in their possession, okay? And then each player gets 20 resource tokens, okay? These are essentially 10 doubles. One of them has the resource for the with the colored side, and there is a duplicate with the resource without color included. Okay, this is very important because these are different things. We're going to explain them in the course of the game. Essentially, we have the scoring resources, which are represented with those colorless symbols, and the life resources, which are represented with the colored respective symbols. Okay, so each player has in their player board, focus here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 areas. Okay, and for each of those they have their track and their colored and non-colored marker, which will explain these core resources how they work later on. In addition, each player has 5 phase tiles. These phase tiles are these 1, 2, 3, 4 plus 1, 5. Okay, so each player has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these are inserted in the slots 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 respectively, filling in the different stages of a person's life. You see, the person becomes older, and this one with number 2 goes in the slot number 2, while this one with number 5 goes in the slot with number 5. More on that later. So each player takes a set of 5 for their character on the different stages of their lifetime. We have 24 banknotes. The game comes with paper banknotes, but also, I suppose this is part of an add-on or the deluxe version. There were also these acrylic, very, very cool tiles. I really like the quality of those. These are brilliant. Okay, so I'm not sure if they're going to be offered as part of the deluxe or as an add-on, but they look really nice, and I think they're worth the extra. Then there are 12 heart tokens. Each player is going to take 3 and place them on their baby card or baby tile, depending on your version. There is a start player token. There is a score pad, which is used for scoring at the end of the game. And there is a set of instructions. So, all in all, these are all the components of the game. So let's move into setup. Game setup. First, place the main board in the center of the table and unfold it so that its faces 1, orange, and 2, green, are fully visible. The rest of the faces are not to be unfolded yet. Then each player places their corresponding life board in front of them, and they place the 5 face tiles on the corresponding spaces of the 5 life phases, meaning tile number 1 is going to go here, tile number 2 is going to go here for this character, tile number 3 in the 3 slot, number 4 in the 4 slot, and number 5 in the 5th and last slot. Also, you place the 3 life markers for the corresponding life phase on the phase tiles respectively. In practice, this translates in placing the phase 1 3 life markers on the phase 1 tile, which sits on the phase 1 slot. Same for phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, and phase 5. Then you place your 20 resource tokens on the scales of your life board, 2 on each scale with the matching symbol, and all tokens start the game at value 0, meaning you place the non-colored at 0 and then the colored on top of it. Okay, and you do that for each of the 10 different scales you have. Okay, you sort the life cards and you sort them into categories. You create 5 separate piles that you shuffle face down, and you place them next to the board, and then you also shuffle the baby cards or baby tiles depending on your version, okay, face down, depicting the question mark, because face up they depict different icons. So you shuffle them and create a stack face down. Now let's move into explaining some of the basics of the game, the basic concepts. Now let's focus on resources. In life, your character's traits and achievements are represented by resource symbols. There are 2 types of resource symbols: we have the scoring resources. Okay, this is a scoring resource. This is a scoring resource. These are represented by colorless symbols and are used only for the final scoring. They indicate what was important to you in life, and we have the respective colored resources with our color symbols, so a colored star, a colored book, okay, that are called life resources. These are represented by color symbols and can lead to further life events. They are also used for final scoring, but they also indicate what you can do in life. Both types of resources are presented by a total of 10 symbols, and in both categories there are more common and rarer resources, meaning in some cases some are more common and in other cases some are less common. We'll explain how this works later. The following 5 resources are relatively common as scoring resources and relatively rare as life resources. Okay? And these are sports, education, art, fame, and experience. And the following 5 resources are relatively rare as scoring resources and relatively common as life resources. These are strength, knowledge, creativity, joy, and community. The current value of a corresponding resource is shown on your life board using the resource markers. The colorless markers represents scoring resources and the color one represents life resources. If the markers exceed the maximum value of the scale, we adjust accordingly. The values are not strictly limited. Something important, scoring and life resources do not deplete. There are a few exceptions, we'll explain them later, but if you need these resources for cards, you only need to have them, to show that you have them. You don't spend them, okay? You don't give them up. Additional resources. There are other resources in the game which are briefly described here, for example, money, okay? And when you receive money, you take banknote from the supply. Money is a consumable resource that is often required for particularly lucrative developments. So if a card requires money, you must give it up the corresponding number of banknotes. You do not receive any experience points though for money at the end of the game. Money is worth nothing at the end of the game, and this is so thematic, right? And another additional resource are life cards. Okay, you draw the specified number of life cards. You may choose any cards from the stacks of the current phase and the next 2 phases. There is no limit, no hand limit on how many cards you can have. Some cards require you to discard other life cards. In that case, you discard any cards from your hand to the discard pile to pay for any such costs. There are also some negative resources. Okay, in rare cases, a life card causes you to lose a resource. In that case, move the marker of the corresponding life resource back. If you have already reached -1 on the track, then nothing happens. And you can never lose scoring resources, only life resources. Okay? Also, for example, you see, you need to spend the card or spend the banknote and so on. Okay? Or you gain 2 life cards, and so on. We also have the heart and baby resources. There are 2 additional resources which will make more sense when we explain the game. The heart resources are heart symbols, okay, that they go. We start the game with 3 heart resources if we have an issue if we don't have enough heart resources. And at some point you'll see that some of the cards provide baby resources. Okay, let me find one to show you. There you go. This is clearly baby resource, okay, which will make sense down the road. Now let's take a closer look on the life cards. Okay, the life cards depict of the things your character do or experience during their lives. The cards are divided into 5 life phases. Okay, depicted by the different number on the back: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Which roughly correspond to these stages. 1 is for childhood, 2 is for adolescence, 3 is for young adulthood, 4 is for older adulthood, and 5 is for old age. A card consists of two sections: the base area, the upper part of the card, and the development area, the lower part of the card. Okay? Keep in mind that you automatically experience the base area, the top part of the card, when you play the corresponding card from your hand or from the game board into your live board. You only experience the development area of your once you pay the cost shown during the development action, which we'll explain later, and it's at the bottom of the card to experience the bottom, to receive the bottom rewards. The experience. In both cases, experiencing means that you receive all resources from the respective areas. These are mostly scoring resources, colorless, and life resources, colored, and in these cases you move the respective life markers forward on the scales, on your corresponding scales on your life track. However, some cards also provide money, additional life cards, or negative resources. Keep in mind that you only receive the resources from the development area, which is the bottom part as we discussed, okay, if you have performed the development action for that card. In this case, the top resources could be those two, the bottom could be for the development, if you do the development action, those two. A word about costs as well. Costs can be life resources. In this case, you simply need to have the resources, okay? You simply need to have them, not to spend them. You just show that you have the respective amount corresponding to what you have on your life board, on your scales. However, costs can also be money, life cards or hearts. In that case, you must pay the corresponding cost, which is to give up money, cards, or hearts respectively. In some cases, costs are separated by slash. In this case, you may choose one of the two options respectively. Now, let's talk about your birth and focus on the birth cards or tiles. Your characters are born. Since life is a very thematic game, it makes sense to go through this together as a small ritual at the start of the game rather than as part of the setup. You're born, from birth, you possess inherited traits. The baby cards are shuffled and you receive one card which you place on the corresponding space on your life board here. Baby cards give you your first scoring symbols and thus suggest a direction for you. Move the resource tokens on the scoring resources onto your life board according to those symbols on your baby card, and also place 3 heart tokens on top of the baby card. And soon the first dreams and plans begin to take shape. And just to show it by example, in this case I have moved this to number 1 because there is one symbol for the strength, 1 for this, and also 2 for this. Okay, according to the baby card. Also, each of the players receives 2 cards from life phase 1, which is the orange deck, light green, which is phase 2, and blue, which is phase 3. Okay, so these are the cards that you have in your hand, a starting hand, and you keep them only visible to you as your hand. You keep them face down on the table next to your playboard. Okay, and this is your starting hand, and it's going to be composed of more cards in course of the game because you're going to be picking up more and more cards. Now, you take the 3 first tokens that you have normally here, okay, on phase 1. You take them from there, you stack them, and you place them on the starting space on the current phase for the start of the game. But before showing you where this is on the main board, you also remove this tile. You take it, you place it to the side of the board, and once this phase is going to finish, we know that now we're playing phase 1 because it's open, okay, and it also has spaces for receiving markers. More on that later, but once this phase is finished, this is going to be closed, so we're going to return the tile face down, and this is going to be revealed playing phase 2 and moving on. Okay, so for the moment, while we're playing phase 1, this is left to the side, on the sideboard, and it's going to be closed when the phase finishes. The starting player places the first 3 life markers in a stack on any starting space on the game board. The space is on the far left, okay? So they choose a space and place them. And the other players follow in a clockwise fashion. Spaces may be occupied more than once, okay? And placing them there. After this stage is done, we draw 8 cards from the phase 1 deck, which is this one, with the orange color, and place them in any order on the first 8 spaces on the game board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Essentially in the first 2 columns. And then your life can now begin. Gameplay. The gameplay now takes you through your life over a total of 15 rounds, divided into 3 rounds per life phase, for the total of 5 life phases we've seen before. Starting at the start marker, you now take turns clockwise, and then your round ends. During your turn is always consists of exactly 2 parts. Select a card and place a life marker. Let's check first how we select a card, a game card. You always have 2 options here. Either take a card from the game board, over there, or play a card from your hand. When you take a card from your game board, you may choose between the 2 or 3 cards on the game board that are connected by bars to the space where your life markers are located. Meaning from here I can select either this one, that one, or that one. If my marker was here, I can select either this one or that one. Okay, there are clear bars which connect the available spaces depending on the location of the life markers. Once you have selected a card, you move your life marker to that space behind the selected card, and then you place the card on top of your life board in the current column, the matching color. The empty space on the game board is immediately filled in with a new card from the deck of the corresponding phase. Okay, so let's say I selected this card, I'm going to move this one here, I'm going to pick up this card, a new card is going to be placed there immediately. Okay, and this card is going to start creating a column of orange cards for phase 1, which I'm going to be placing above my board on the orange slot. Let me show you on another player board how this would look like. I have squeezed it, but so all the orange cards are going to be stacked or positioned 1, 2, 3, 4 like that above the orange phase 1 on your player board. Respectively, when you start picking up phase 2 green cards, they're going to go onto this slot like that. The second option for selecting a card is playing a hand card. Alternatively, you may play one of your hand cards from your current phase onto your life board in the same section, in the same fashion that I showed you. Cards from past or future phases may not be played. Meaning if you're on phase 3, you cannot play phase 1 or phase 2 cards. In this case as well, you advance your life marker. You may choose which of the 2 to 3 available cards on the game board to place your life marker behind without taking the card, and in both cases you immediately receive the resources from the base area of the played card. In this case, if the card in focus was this one, I would move that and that marker 1 level up, which means, let's say it's this player, they would move this marker, the non-colored one, 1 level up from 0 to 1, and for this one, the colored one, let's say it was like that, it's not, but let's say they would move from 3 to 4, okay, somehow like that. So that's the first portion, selecting a card in any of the 2 available options that we have for us to do so. Placing a life marker, which is the second part. Now you take the topmost of your life markers from the game board and place it, okay, so you take the topmost and place it on a special location, okay, on one of the 3 options actually that you have, and this symbolizes how your character spends their time. The 3 special options you have for placing the marker is either for development, friendship, or resources. Okay, so you take the top one and you place it either for development, for friendship or resources. You must always choose one of these actions. If you cannot develop any cards and you do not have the resources to pay for the friendship action either, then you must choose the resource action as mandatory. This can lead to a loss of hearts in the final phase, which we'll explain later. Okay, so let's see the three different options. Development. You place a life marker on the cost area of a life card from the current phase. You now receive resources from the development area of that life's card. Okay, which is the bottom part, as we explained before. Keep in mind that this area is only accessible to you through this action. This action is only possible if you can pay the card's cost. The development action can only be performed once per card. It also cannot be performed on cards from past phases. Okay, so that's one option, development. Another option is friendship. You pay the cost shown on the friendship symbol on the current phase on your life board and place the life marker on a life card of the current phase but in another play area display. This allows you to grant you resources and scoring symbols from the base area of the opponent's card because you were intentionally looking for them. The other player does not lose these resources and scoring symbols, you just gain them also via friendship. You may perform the friendship action again on any turn, but you may only select each opponent's card once. However, other players may also select the card during their own friendship actions. Okay? Meaning, if it's a phase 1, the cost is to discard one life card, as shown here. But as you can see, if you move further down, okay, here it's also the same, but here the cost for friendship symbol is to discard 2 life cards. Okay, so depending on your personal board and your phase. The development area of an opponent's card is not accessible to you, like before. Okay, it's locked. Via friendship you gain access to the top part of their card. And the third option for placing a marker is resources. You place your life marker on one of the resource spaces of the current phase of your life board, and you then receive the resources shown. Okay, so you place it, for example, here and gain 2 cards. From the current phase, you draw 2 cards to your hand. Keep in mind that you may perform the resources action again on every turn. That's why you have 3 resource spaces on each of the slots for each of the phases in each phase. Okay. And this is the third and last option. Again, summarizing, destinations for placing the life marker are development, friendship, and resources. End of a round. Once everyone has taken a turn, the round ends. The start marker is passed to the next player in a clockwise direction, with the exception of the 2 players, okay, which is not passed until the phase change. And now all remaining life cards from the column that was being passed on the board are being cleared, and a new column of cards are filled into the right location, the rightest column, so that the next 2 available columns in front of the life markers are always filled in. So the location of the life markers will always have in front of them 2 columns of cards to select from. If you run out of space on the right side of the game board, simply unfold the right side and fold the left side that you no longer need for. The end of the phase. After every third round, the current phase ends. If this was not the last phase, a new phase begins. If you are playing with 2 players, you pass the start marker to the other player. Now you take the 3 life markers from the phase tile on the next phase of your life board, place the new life markers on a stack in the spot on the game board, which you took the last life markers from the previous phase, and now you place the phase tile from the previous phase back onto the life board, so that you close it. Okay, this stack, and go in front of the 2 new columns to start playing the next phase. And now this is left aside, because once this phase is completed, again it's going to be closed, and each time we close a phase, we close it from the back side of the tile, indicating a life. Okay, meaning in this case it's clear that we have finished phase 1, we're playing phase 2, and we're still waiting for 3, 4 and 5 to complete. Keep in mind that what about the baby symbols that we discussed before? At the end of phase 3, for each baby symbol on your laid out cards, I'm talking about the cards that you have in columns in front of your play board, your life board here, okay, as we've seen before. Each of the baby symbol on your layout cards, for each of those, you draw 2 phase 1 life cards, place one of them on top of your phase 3 cards and discard the other. At the end of phase 4, for each of your baby symbols on your laid out cards, you draw 2 phase 2 life cards and place on top of your phase 4 cards and discard the other. These cards represent essentially your children's lives, and you receive the resources from these based on the 2 cards, but you cannot develop them, okay? But you gain the resources from them. So, this is essentially how the phases are placed, and once the 5th and last phase is played, the game ends. Keep in mind a word about hearts, because we've seen the birth cards and the hearts, but we didn't talk about them. At the start of the game, I remind you that we receive 3 hearts on our baby card, and we can lose these hearts during the game through cards or resource actions or different requirements. If you have none of the 3 cards left at the end of your turn, the game ends early for you at that point. You cannot play any longer, but still you participate in the final scoring at the end of the game to see if you manage to achieve victory. And now, let's talk about the last stage, which is the end of the game and the final scoring. At the start, when the phase 5 is over, or if you had to drop out early, the game ends for you. Okay, once the game 5 is finished for everybody, players score points. And how players score? Now, we record the scoring, how many experience points you received in total. And to do this, you simply multiply the value for the scoring resources and the life resources for each resource type. And this value indicates your experience points from that resource type. Meaning, in this case, let's say for the color one, it was 3. And for the non-color one, it was 2. 3 times 2, 6 for me. Okay, and we'll do the same for each of the 10 resources. Keep in mind that the resource, if it's on -1 space, the result it's a -1 for that resource. Then we add up from the 10 resources the total, and we see our total score. Everyone who played this game and had a wonderful emotional time is a winner. If you want to continue scoring, the player with the most experience points wins. In the event of a tie, the value is for all of them, because you all achieved joy, and that's what counts the most. So there you have it. This is everything you need to know on how to play this nice, easy going, casual game about a lifetime. So let's meet back up for my final first impression from the game and the time I had with this prototype. Alright, that's a life. Now that you've seen how it actually plays, let me wrap up some final thoughts and first impressions from me from the time I had with this prototype. What I really appreciate about this design is how calm it feels. It's a Euro game, yes, but it's never something that is trying to overwhelm you. It's no brain burner, there is no take that, no blocking, no tension, no spikes. It's just you, your board, some fellows around the board, and the story it unfolds for your lifetime, the way you play and the choices you make. It actually feels a bit personal, sharing moments with friends and people around the table. The pacing is smooth, the decisions are meaningful without being stressful, and the theme does a lot of the heavy lifting in this game because it delivers this thematic ties to what it deals with. The rules are very simple to teach. The components are marvelous. I mean, I don't know if this is going to be the final version of the game, or this is just my version, or if it's going to be differences between the deluxe. You have to follow the link in the description of the video and find out more about from the crowdfunding campaign page of Alive from Scale Games on Gamefound, hitting crowdfunding soon in a couple of days. But boy, does it look nice. The recess board, the iconography is clean. This board is a marvel, really. The way it folds and unfolds, it's just beautiful. It's just engineering, I don't know, excellence in terms of board gaming and manufacturing. I'm not an expert by no means, but I've seen a lot of board games, a lot of have huge library and a huge collection of games, and seen all sorts of different things in terms of innovation in design and developing. From development point of view, this board, the way it folds and unfolds, it's something else. It sits flat. It really unfolds as you progress from phase 1 to phase 5. Also, it links with like I don't know, a B-roll, a movie, you know, moving from your early stages of your younger years to, you know, adulthood, younger adulthood, mature adulthood, and then old age, etc., throughout the 5 ages of the game. So this feels tied to the theme of the game as well. The art is really, you know, warm and cozy and easygoing. The iconography is clean and easy to get behind. The rules are very simple. The recessed boards are really, really nice. The components look beautiful. So all in all, this is an excellent, very, very pleasant, laid-back experience. If you're looking for a competitive type of games where you cut the corners, you just block your opponents, you do nasty things to them, this is not a game for you. If you're looking for a laid-back, casual, easygoing experience to share with other fellow gamers around the table, with family and friends, this is a game that plays from ages 8 and up. This is one that really, really, really delivers. It's language independent, at least in the version that I've played. There is no text, okay? It's clean, it's easy. So it can be played with casual gamers, as a gateway game, as a filler game between more heavy games from experienced groups. I think it's one of those games that it can easily see a lot of playing time and hit the table quite a lot. So all in all, this is my first impressions from Alive, another great game in a series of great games from Skellig Games. I really enjoyed previous games they delivered as well. So looking forward to see how successful this is going to be on crowdfunding. I'm sure it's going to be very, very successful. So if this was a game that sounds interesting to you on the way it plays and what it delivers, do visit the link in the description of the video and find out more about the launch and be notified on when the game starts on crowdfunding. So many thanks for watching.